Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Lauren. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 girls. Today I'm going to share 3 homeschool must-haves. I'm going to get started right away, but first I just want to say that this video is a collaboration with Anna from Just Making It Work. There is going to be a playlist down below of all different homeschool moms sharing what their must-haves for homeschooling are. So make sure after you watch this video that you check out Anna's video and the entire playlist so that you can get some different ideas from different moms, all seasoned homeschoolers who are just sharing what works best for them. Now, when I say must-haves, these are my must-haves. They may not necessarily be your must-haves. So I'm gonna just go right out the gate with what I think is probably the most important one. Instead of saving it for last, I am going to just share it first. That is our mindset. That is remembering our why for our homeschool. If you don't know your why or haven't really thought about it, make sure you get a good, clear picture of what that is. What is the reason that you are homeschooling? And you either write it down or have it, cemented in the forefront of your brain, so that way when days get hard, you can go back to that reasoning and it'll kind of keep you motivated to continue to homeschool. There will come days that will just be hard. Unkind words might be said. Tensions might rise, patience will be tried. There might be tears or frustration or feeling of inadequacy or feeling like things aren't going, they didn't go as planned, or lack of progression, going over the same letter every day for 2 weeks. Yes, it's still letter A, the same letter we've been reviewing for 2 weeks now. Feeling like you don't measure up. Thinking so-and-so does this and that's what I should do. I'm not doing enough. Their homeschool is so organized and so routined and disciplined, and I need to be more like that, whatever the case may be. And if you haven't run into any of those yet, some of those, if not all of them, will happen at some point. And this isn't to discourage you by any stretch of the imagination. Again, if you already homeschool, then you know that that happens. But going back to remembering the reason why you are homeschooling, take a break, take a pause, especially if, the kids are in the middle of a meltdown and, no learning is going to be happening in those times anyway. So you can push through it and say, well, too bad, we're just finishing. Or you can take a step back, say, we'll do the lesson. Let's pause on the lesson. We'll do that once you're in a mindset that you can actually learn. And giving them a break, giving you a break, take a minute, pray, ask God for strength, for patience, for wisdom, whatever you need to ask him for in that moment. And remember, wait a second, I'm homeschooling for this and that. I'm not going to throw in the towel. This isn't too hard. I can do this. And just giving yourself that pep talk that you would honestly give to your friend if they were in the same situation, giving yourself that encouragement. And again, just relying on God's strength, even if it's just for to make it through the next 10 or 15 minutes. Even before this school day starts, I like to pray in the morning that God would give us peace and love, and that our relationships would grow stronger and we would grow in wisdom and all of that, just so you're starting your day off with that mindset, and then reiterate and refresh as the day goes on as needed. Now, you won't need to do that all the time. Not every day is going to be terrible and horrible, obviously, but there will be, more difficult, challenging times. But there will also be an equal, if not hopefully greater number of days that are amazing and fun and so worth it. And for that, keep that mindset in mind too. Like, yes, this is why I homeschool. This is why I'm motivated to continue to go and face those challenging days, because of this right here. And when you have those moments, hang on to them. Don't take those simple moments for granted, the moments where we're all getting along, where we've all done a lesson today and nobody complained or, had tears, or they finally got this concept, or they were able to go on this really fun field trip. Whatever it is, celebrate those little accomplishments as well. I feel that by finding joy and blessings out of the little seemingly small victories will really help continue to shift your mindset into more positive thinking. We're in my homeschool room, which brings me to my next point. Get a homeschool space you love. Now, it does not have to be an entire homeschool room, or a room that is designated 100% to homeschool. We actually got kind of lucky, blessed when we bought this house. We bought this actually before we even started homeschooling, and the garage had already been converted into an enclosed area. And so about a year or two after we started homeschooling, we just spruced it up a little bit to make it a more cozy homeschool space for us. But we don't do all of our homeschooling in here. In the morning, we're doing our Bible, devotional, that type of thing at the kitchen table right after breakfast. Then we come in here, and this is where we do the majority of our language arts and math lessons and their independent work. And then after lunch and in the afternoon, we get nice and cozy on the couch, and that is where we do our science and history lessons, and any read alouds that we do is right there. Our very first year, we just used our dining room. Since it's a formal dining room that we don't really utilize that often, I said, let's make this our homeschool space. So I took a lot of pride and joy into turning that room into our homeschool space. I didn't spend a whole lot of money, but I made it perfect for us for that first homeschool year. We did, in fact, kind of grow out of that space, but it was perfect for what it was. So if you don't have a homeschool room, that's okay. You definitely don't need one. It's absolutely possible to do homeschooling and be successful without that. But I do think there should be an emphasis on some sort of space in your house that is designated for homeschooling and that you feel either relaxed when you're there, motivated, energized, inspired, whatever feeling you're looking for when it comes to actually doing the day in and day out of homeschooling. Pick an area in the house that is going to satisfy that and that can offer that. You don't have to spend a lot of money and renovate an entire room. You don't have to spend thousands or even hundreds of dollars redoing a section of the room to make it more homeschool friendly. You could do really small updates to make the area fit your needs. So whether it is getting a little plant that makes you happy, or a good smelling candle, some essential oils, a nice picture to hang on the wall, or just painting the room an actual brighter color or a cozier color, it might be darker, whatever it may be, to kind of give you that homeschool feeling of we're ready to get started with homeschool. And that can even be for people, if you have a chronic illness and it's really hard to get out of bed, or you suffer with depression or anxiety and you're just doing good to do school at all. It's okay if you do it in bed with the kids surrounding you. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame or guilt in that. It doesn't matter where you choose or how fancy it is or lack thereof. What's most important is finding a spot or two or three in your house, wherever it may be, that is going to keep you motivated to get the schooling done. I know for myself that has been a really big ticket to being consistent with homeschool. Some people, it doesn't matter. They just say, wherever we are in the house, it just doesn't matter. And I understand that. And that's what you fall into. That is absolutely fine. And this point will not be relevant. But for myself, I know that has really, really made a big difference in our consistency with homeschooling and my desire and want to keep going, even on hard days and days that are like, oh, it's just cold and dreary and rainy and I don't want to be doing school. Let's find a nice cozy spot to be. And it helps keep us motivated. My third homeschool must-have is curriculum that you love, or at least tolerate. I have my little curriculum props right here. This isn't necessarily like my favorite picks or anything. Actually, we haven't even really used any of this. This is more for next year. Now, you will hear a lot of times homeschool moms saying that curriculum is not the end-all be-all, and that don't put your faith 100% in the curriculum. And I do agree with all of that. I will preface this by saying I do agree with that. However, I do think that getting the right curriculum and having the right fit will make a huge difference in your homeschool, especially if you're struggling. I've had subjects that I've kind of dreaded doing, and I went from dreading them to really actually enjoying them and looking forward to them. Same as my children. Just depending on, it's not that we just don't do the subject anymore. We changed up our curriculum and we tried new things until we found something that was a good fit for us. I actually have a video coming out on how I choose curriculum, some tips and tricks, especially if you're a new homeschool mom and you are feeling overwhelmed and intimidated and you just don't know where to start. So if you want more, I'll go into more detail in that video. It's coming up soon. But for today's purposes, I just want to share that from my perspective, curriculum can really be a game changer. And the right curriculum is not necessarily going to be what is the most popular or what is the most Charlotte Mason or what is, what your friend told you to use or what, people on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or whatever are using. It's going to be what works best for you. And not just curriculum, but even broader than that is your homeschool style and your child's learning style, and that may differ for each individual child. And individual subjects. So for example, like language arts, I actually really like traditional, but when it comes to like science and history, I like more of a Charlotte Mason literature approach where it's a little bit more relaxed and laid back. So just because you think, oh, this style appeals to me, I need to do it across the board, that isn't necessarily so. It could just be that for certain subjects, you gravitate toward a particular style, and your kids do too, obviously. They're part of the equation, I guess. I'm joking. Sometimes I'm a little bit too sarcastic, but I just feel like sometimes we just need to lighten up things. Anyway, so that I don't know if it's unfortunately, it's just a matter of fact, is that sometimes it's going to take a little bit of trial and error. And if you don't get it right the first time or the second time or even the third time, it doesn't mean like that you're doomed and your child is destined to absolutely always hate that subject. It just means that you might need to try something different, and just to consider that and keep that in mind, that there is no one size fits all curriculum or learning style or curriculum style educational approach. It's going to be different for every student. And again, if you are struggling with curriculum and how to go about it, not that my video will be the end all be all or anything like that, but I will show just tips and tricks of where I started from, which was extremely overwhelmed my first year of homeschooling, to where I'm at now, and just kind of what I've learned throughout the years. It will be condensed into a video, hopefully not too long, of just practical things that you can use when you are searching for curriculum that hopefully will best suit your family. So that is all I have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out Anna's video and the playlist down below. Don't forget to check out those other videos too. Make sure you like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you have not already done so. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye. I hear screaming in the back, but I think it's the good, happy kind of screaming, and not the someone's arm is being pulled out of the socket screaming. So I'm gonna, it stopped and resolved. So that's a good thing. I didn't even have to mediate that one. But okay, what else do I want to say about that? So I feel like there's not much So if that is, so I'm gonna wrap this. Okay, what else is there?